In certain stories, you may see two warriors stand off against one another. They lock eyes for a moment and then one of them recklessly charges in, or walks away, mentally defeated. You can also imagine two psychically gifted individuals fight one another inside their minds, with the defeated one collapsing dead. This is what I call mental combat. How do you do it in GURPS? I decided to talk about it because I remembered D&D Psionics. In D&D 3.0 and before, there was this thing called psionic combat. Every psion had access to 5 different psionic attack modes and 5 different psionic defense modes. A psionic character could engage another psion or a non-psionic creature in psionic combat by engaging a psionic attack mode. A defender doesn't know which mode is used, but he can put up one of the 5 psionic defense modes. Each psionic attack mode was particularly effective against certain defense modes, and particularly weak against others. There was a chart. So for the defender this was a matter of luck. It reminds me of these early 2000s web browser multiplayer fighting games, where the attacker chooses a target hit location, and the defender chooses 2 locations out of 5 to defend. I always guessed wrong. The psionic attack modes worked like normal psionic powers that dealt temporary ability damage or stun, but they were different because they just were, okay? As a concept, I like psionic combat. The implementation, however, was a complete mess in D&D 3.0, so much so that it was dropped completely in D&D 3.5, and both the attack and defense modes became normal psionic powers. I have heard that this situation was even worse before 3.0, but don't take my word on that, as I have never played any earlier editions, unfortunately. So what if you want mental combat in GURPS? In my opinion, the main point of D&D psionic combat was to make psionics more interactive than simply manifesting powers and rolling saving throws. As an attacker, you can at least choose the power you manifest, but as a defender you cannot do anything. You just roll your save and hope you roll high enough. If you've read GURPS Psionic Powers or GURPS Powers, you know that psionic abilities in GURPS have power skills attached to them. Both of the books also talk about power defenses, allowing you to double or otherwise enhance your passive protection given by a psionic ability by making it an active defense. That already makes defense more interactive. You can rely on your passive defense, or you can take a risk and roll an active defense. GURPS Psionic Powers also has 2 new maneuvers, All Out Concentrate and All Out Defense Mental Defense, which makes mental combat more varied as well and provides you with new choices to make. And then we have all the fun techniques: Jam to disrupt the same ability used by others, Mind Trap and Reflective Shield techniques for the Mind Shield ability, which lets you trap the mind of a hostile telepath that tries to affect you, or bounce the attack back, etc. Now, as a defender, you can actually do something active. So, in a way, psionic combat already exists in GURPS, and you do not have to do anything. In my opinion, this yet again shows just how well written the powers framework of GURPS is. It can do almost anything you can imagine. You just have to, well, imagine and tell yourself what you want to do. I have seen many people asking others to do all the work for them, without even properly explaining what they want, and then they get upset that the other people fail to read their minds. But enough of my gushing about how much I like GURPS powers. Let me gush about another book that I love to bits, GURPS Martial Arts. On page 130 there is a box titled Mind Games, and it has a section titled The Contest of Wills. This has nothing to do with psionics, but with cinematic martial arts. Instead of using your blade, you can initiate a contest of will with a concentrate maneuver by locking eyes with your opponent. The opponent may accept your challenge and perform his own concentrate maneuver, but if he doesn't accept, he still has to roll against will to avoid being drawn in anyway. If he makes a successful roll against will, he becomes immune to your challenge for the duration of the combat. Then, each turn, roll a regular contest of will. If your intimidation or mental strength skill is better than will, you can use it instead. There are some other modifiers that I will not talk about much, such as a more skilled opponent getting a bonus that depends on the difference between the combat skill levels. I have to emphasize that this is a regular contest, not a quick contest. Regular contests are used so rarely in GURPS that I often forget that they even exist. When somebody wins the contest, find the margin of victory as if this were a quick contest and make a reaction roll for the loser, applying this margin as a bonus. This is a potential combat reaction roll. If this forces the loser to attack, he has the winner's margin of victory as a penalty to his attack rolls. This is a very cool rule that would work perfectly in a game about martial artists, samurais or ninjas. But why not adapt it to psionic combat? You can keep almost everything the same, but replace the modifiers. Instead of high combat skill providing a bonus, let the highest psionic skill provide a bonus. And if the loser is forced to attack, apply a penalty to his psionic skills, not to his attack rolls. And bam, you're done. You have another form of mental combat now. Anyway, I think that's all I can say here. Have you ever used the mind games rules from GURPS martial arts? Have you ever used power defenses or extra maneuvers from GURPS psionic powers? What modifiers would you add to the psionic contest of wills? I'd love to hear what you think. Thank you for watching and I'll see you next time. I may have something special in store, or maybe not.